Good morning, Mrs. Keller's friends. Since this week is review, our videos are going to be kind of short and not super explicit instruction. It's more, like I said, a review. So today we're going to review the metric system. And in the metric system, there are millimeters, centimeters, and meters that we'll be talking about in second grade. Now, 10 millimeters are about the size of a grain of sand. The teeniest, tiniest lines here are millimeters, okay? 10 of those equals 1 centimeter, which is about the width of my pinky fingernail, okay? So that's about this big, okay? So 10 millimeters just to make 1 centimeter, all right? Now, the biggest unit in the metric system that we're going to talk about, like I said, are meters. And in order to make 1 meter, which if you remember yesterday, I mentioned that a meter is about from the floor to where a typical doorknob is. So it's about half of a door long. Just to get 1 meter, it's going to take you 100 of those centimeters, 100 centimeters. And 100 centimeters to make a meter means that if you wanted to do it in millimeters, measure it in millimeters, it would take 1,000 of those little grains of sand. My goodness. So we did something similar in class, but again, it's been several weeks. So I thought that we could do a little review on the metric system today by measuring some things around Mrs. Keller's house. I, believe it or not, even though I'm a teacher, do not have a meter stick in my house. I also, surprisingly, do not have a ruler, and that is probably because I've taken them all to my classroom, which I can't get to right now. So I borrowed some of Mr. Keller's measuring tape, and that will work perfectly fine because if you remember, in class we talked about different tools that you can use to measure length. And you can use a ruler, you can use a meter stick, but you can also use measuring tape. So I am going to try to scoot you back so you can see. Have one of the tape measures already locked in at exactly 1 meter. 1 meter is 100 centimeters and 1,000 millimeters, okay? So we will use this to measure longer objects. I figured that we could use a second measuring tape to measure smaller objects. So I'm not going to measure a whole lot of things, but just as a review, let's measure some stuff. So one of the things that I brought today from Mrs. Keller's house is one of my favorite movies. And it's a big box. So I thought we could measure the length of this movie box, okay? Do you think we should use meters, centimeters, or millimeters to measure this movie box? I'm thinking a meter is going to be too long to be able to be accurate. Now remember, a millimeter is about the size of 1 little grain of sand. That might take a while to measure or to count. I think the most accurate unit of measurement in the metric system to measure this box would be a centimeter. So let me go ahead and measure this and see just how long this is in centimeters. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, exactly 27.5 centimeters for this movie box. 27.5 centimeters. I'm going to write that down on a piece of paper. Movie is 27.5. Good thing we learned about fractions earlier this year. Centimeters. And remember, centimeters can be abbreviated to cm. All right, so we have our first measurement. Next, what if I wanted to measure, what if I wanted to measure, you're gonna like this, how long Rosie is. Now Rosie is about as long as one of my shoulders is to my other shoulder. Are we going to use a meter stick again? Again, it's not going to work. It's too long. Millimeters, again, would take a while. Most often when you're measuring objects around your house, you are going to want to use centimeters. So that's what we're going to use with Rosie. All right, Rosie, I know you love being on the table. Let's do it so they can see ya. Scoot you over here. Rosie, let's see. Whoa, sorry. Face forward. All right. So she measured 43 centimeters. I think she's a little mad at me for that. 43 centimeters. So just a little less than double the length of that movie case. Thought you'd be a little longer, darling. Kind of surprised. I'm going to try to think of something small to measure now. Now, we could use centimeters again to measure this with. But let's change it up. Let's use millimeters. I'm sure you've seen these before. Hand sanitizer, super important right now. Let's go ahead and measure this and see how many how many millimeters long this hand sanitizer is. All right, let's see. Oh my goodness. If I measured in millimeters, this hand sanitizer pod is 76 millimeters long. MM stands for millimeters. Whoa. Now, if you're just looking at these numbers, you would think, wow, the hand sanitizer is longer than both Rosie the dog and my movie case. But you have to remember, millimeters are significantly smaller than centimeters. In fact, they're 10 times smaller than millimeters. So, if we measured the hand sanitizer in centimeters, it would be 7 2/3 centimeters. 10 times larger measured in centimeters and millimeters. I want to measure two more things because I want to use a larger unit of measurement. I'm going to measure the door to our basement. And what kind of unit of measurement should I use to measure the store? Should I use millimeters, centimeters, or should I use a meter? Because this is so much longer than the other objects that we measured, it's obviously going to take more than 1 meter to measure the store. I think that's going to be our best bet as far as measuring the store. So because it's more than 1 meter long, if you remember how we did this in class, you can stick your finger here to remember where the first meter was. And I am short, so I'm going to have to lock. There we go. Wow. This door is just about exactly 2 meters long. 2 meters. So remember, even though it looks like this number is much smaller than the other objects we measured, it's important to remember meters are 100 times longer than a centimeter. Meters are also 1,000 times longer than a meter. Or a meter is 1,000 times longer than a millimeter. So even though this number looks smaller, this object is much longer than the other things that we measured. The last thing I want to measure is going to be even trickier to measure by myself, but I thought I would see just how many meters long tall I am. So let's give that a try. This is 1 meter on me. If I tried to measure, it's much easier to use a meter stick. If I tried to measure a whole another meter, it's not going to work. I'm way shorter than 2 meters tall. I'm way shorter than this door. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to use a mixture of units of measurement. So I've used a meter. I can't use another meter. Would I want to measure the rest of my height in centimeters or millimeters? Which would take less time? It would take less time to use centimeters because they're much larger than millimeters. So let's try that. Again, it's going to be pretty difficult to do this on my own. I'm going to set this down. I have my marker. Let's measure the rest of me with this other measuring tape. Okay. Wow. So I am, let me write it down so I can do my conversion here. Oh man. Mrs. Keller is 1 meter and 56 centimeters tall. I'm going to challenge you today, and in the link in the description I will provide a resource for you if you'd like to do a scavenger hunt around your house. It's a rainy day. I know it's Technology Tuesday. I know that you've got some homework and things on Google Classroom to figure out, but it's a rainy day, and if you're going to be stuck inside, this can be a fun activity for you to do with your siblings, your mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, or just by yourself. I challenge you to I found 5 objects. Find as many as you'd like, objects around your house. You can actually download an app on your phone or tablet for free, a ruler app, and that will help you if you don't have, like Mrs. Keller, have a physical ruler or a meter stick at home. You can use that rather than measuring tape to help you accurately measure things around your house if you need to, okay? So find some cool things around your house to measure. If you don't want to come up with some ideas on your own, again, I will put some examples of scavenger hunt ideas in the description. So I hope this review helped you. I know it was kind of hard to see. Again, videotaping is just a little bit more awkward than it would be to teach in class. So it's a little bit harder to see everything that I'm doing. But thankfully this week is review, and so I hope this was helpful to you. If you need more help with the metric system on Google Classroom, I have a link to that wonderful Numbers Rock metric system video song that we love, and then as well as a Khan Academy video with a little bit more explicit instructions. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.